using the helicopter.
Hi guys, welcome to toejam and earl.
Swampy brush, easy for folks to hide in there, so they're actively trying to weed them out. And this is part of the ongoing border surge, and part of the reason why the Texas governor says it's time to take action himself. Take a look at this video we shot here yesterday afternoon, right here in the same spot, also in La Jolla, as a thunderstorm rolled through the area. The migrants are going to come no matter what the weather is. Rainy, dry, hot, cold, night and day, doesn't matter. They're coming, and they're coming in big.
Okay, now we have to restart all over again.
Why? What's happening? What they do now?
The federal government has abandoned their responsibility.
What they do now?
It says Texas will build its own border wall. Take a listen.
Make no mistake, the current administration is refusing to enforce the laws concerning immigration that are on the books passed by the United States Congress.
So what you're looking at right now is the federal border wall here in the La Jolla, Texas area. This is what was being built under Donald Trump's administration. As you can see, that wall just ends out of the blue, and there's a big gap there. That's because as soon as President Biden took over, his administration stopped all construction of that border wall, so some of these migrants able to just walk around here. That's one of Governor Abbott's biggest frustrations. He said part of the reason why he wants to build hundreds of miles of Texas border wall out here. Now, we had a chance to talk to constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley. He says you can expect this to get challenged in court immediately. He says it's going to become a states' rights versus a federal issue. He said Texas legally does have the right to build a border wall on its own state land, but they cannot do it right on the border, right by the Rio Grande, because that is federal jurisdiction. Take a listen.
We've not had a case like this. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the state of Texas can't build a wall. But the Constitution does say that the federal government has unassailable authority over the border.
And Professor Turley went on to tell us that if the Biden administration decides to sue the state of Texas over this, what they're going to have to do is argue in court that they don't want the wall, even if Texas is building on their own land with their own money. They would have to argue that it's potentially interfering with their own border enforcement operations. Professor Turley says that could be a tough sell for them, and it could also open them up to some political liability. Martha, we'll send it back to you.
Wow, Bill, thank you very much. Here now, Florida Republican Congressman Michael Waltz, a former Green Bay Beret commander and colonel in the National Guard. Congressman, that is one fascinating potential legal challenge, and I think it's a very shrewd move on the governor of Texas, Greg Abbott's part, to say, you know what, we're suffering now.
I'm stuck.
For help, and no one's taking us seriously in Washington or at the White House. And we're just going to start building our own wall, partly on private land and in a little bit from the border. It absolutely is looking for a challenge on that from the federal government.
Yeah, but overall, Martha, thank God for our conservative governors who are stepping up in the midst of a crisis when Washington is failing. And we saw this under COVID. We saw Florida lead the way when it comes to opening our schools, opening our economy, taking care of getting vaccines out, and that crisis. Now we're seeing our governors step up to take care of this crisis when the Biden administration refuses to take action. I think the important point here is this isn't just a border state issue. I want Americans to be detained on the border and stand for a time housed on the border. But in this administration, the Department of Health and Human Services are then flying those migrants into the interior. The most recent numbers are 7,000 children are being scattered across the United States. 3,000 children have been placed into Florida. That's in addition to the males and other families that are being scattered around, and the strain that's putting on our schools, our health care,
what the heck is this?
Which already isn't serving American citizens. Now you're adding this on top of it. There's no end in sight, and there's coming out of this White House. So the governors have no choice. And I commend Ron DeSantis, Abbott, Governor Ducey for their leadership.
Yes, that's another potential legal challenge, and because all over the country and in somewhat secret,
what is happening?
People are being dropped off and flown in states that don't necessarily want them or believe that they have broken the law.
abundant
And
installation.
you raised something about Florida, Texas, and Arizona, and the leadership there. And my mind goes back to last summer when you had places like Washington State that were rejecting National Guard during the riots. They said, do not send the National Guard in. So I'm thinking that we just have this country where people are either red states or blue states and have completely different
Run,
philosophies.
homie. Oh no, giant hamster.
No, absolutely.
What do we
but,
do now? Just go.
There-
Ah.
I mean, people are voting with their feet, right? They're leaving New York, they're leaving the Northeast, they're leaving Illinois. California is set to lose a congressional seat for the first time in its history. Meanwhile, these more conservative states, the economies are booming. Our unemployment rate is around down to 4% now. But the other piece of the border that I also want to emphasize, the amount of methamphetamine that is
Play a
flowing
game of buck bucks.
along the Texas border, the amount of fentanyl and the opioid crisis that's flowing into our communities, this has got to stop. And the Biden administration solution for throwing money down into Central America, which is actually going to embolden the cartels down there.
Maybe suitable for just the children.
Yeah, it's interesting just as we part. Alexander Mayorkas of DHS, he said they're studying the border wall now as an option, which I think is very interesting. And I would be so fascinated to see a showdown between Governor Abbott and the White House. The White House is saying, no, you're not allowed to build a wall on that border. That would be something to watch as Americans in the battle between
Then Senator Biden voted for years ago. Securing our border was a bipartisan issue.
Absolutely, 2006. Michael Walsh, thank you very much, Congressman. Always good to see you.
Thank you.
So also now,
It says
from the federal government, Chicago Mayor
intense
Lightfoot
horror
wants the
themes.
federal government to help her crack down on the Windy City's tragic homicide rates. We are live in Chicago
Intense
after
horror
this. Stay with us.
There's gotta be some provided now.
Veteran homeowners, home values are at all-time highs. You can have much more equity than you think. Banks can loan you some of it. New Day can loan you all of it. The New Day 100 VA cash out loan.
Call 1-888-851-1266.
This one is just intense horror themes. There's really nothing to it.
A lot.
The Asylum is one of my
All the ups
favorite
and downs,
songs.
And the
Just
tiny
if I'm
little
just
moments
being
that just
honest.
knock you off your feet. It's on you to make sure they grow up smart and kind.
Boy.
Whatever
It
that
is.
is. There's
Intense
always a lot
horror
going
themes
on.
or
We're
mild
here to take a few
violence.
things off your plate. Because staying in the moment is easier when the future's officially taken care of. LegalZoom. Let's make it official. With thyroid eye disease, I was always wearing sunglasses to hide my bulging eyes. I wore them just about everywhere. But then my doctor recommended Toejam, a prescription medicine
Man.
for eye disease, and I didn't have to hide so much.
In a clinical study, more than 8 out of 10 patients taking toejam had less eye bulging. And your percent saw improvements in double vision. Toejam is an infused medicine. Patients taking toejam may experience infusion reactions. Tell your doctor right away if you have symptoms such as high blood pressure, fast heartbeat, shortness of breath, or loss of pain. Before taking toejam, tell your doctor if you have diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD, or are pregnant or planning to become pregnant. Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis.
I look more like my old self again. Now every time I left this meeting, I want to.
Ask your
Ah,
doctor.
it's a flying baby.
Visit mytoejam.com to see Judy's before and after photos.
Is that really good? Keeping the family together.
Ah, there's the. Okay.
And walk away stronger.
Face the unknown with resolve and triumph.
There's strength in every family story.
Learn more about yours at Ancestry.
My name is Douglas. I'm a writer, director, and I'm still working. In the kind of work that I do, you are surrounded by people who are all younger than you. I had to get help somewhere along the line to stay competitive. I discovered Prevagen. I started taking it, and after a period of time, my memory improved. It was a game changer for me.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Not really is.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just
Oh my god. Hey.
for smartphones. Now get Netflix on us. It's all included with 2 lines for only $70. Only
Stay awake. Stay awake.
Okay, guys, that's today's Toe Jam and Earl video.